Hello guys, in this session we are going to learn how to deploy your Terraform project using Azure DevOps Pipeline. Prerequisite for this, you should have Azure DevOps project ready. Terraform code should be in Azure repository. I will show you in demo how to move code into Azure DevOps from VS Code. So let's get started. Once your code is present in repo, you need to create Azure Pipeline for building and deploying it. Azure Pipeline tasks will run Terraform init, plan, apply commands, and try to create resources within the infrastructure as a code in Terraform. Sometimes the pipeline is not able to deploy your resource in Azure due to security policy of your organization. In those scenarios, we cannot use default pipeline agents for deploy, and for that special agents are required to deploy your Azure. So for example, here you can see we are using self-hosted agent which are trying to connect to Azure cloud using firewall. So what is this pipeline agents? Before understanding type of agents, let's understand what is it. To build your code and deploy your software using Azure Pipeline, you need to have at least one agent. As you add more code and people, you will need eventually more agents. When your pipeline runs, the system begins one or more jobs. An agent is computing infrastructure with installed agent software that runs one job at a time. Azure Pipeline provides several different types of agents. So now we can understand the first agent, which is called Microsoft-hosted agent. If your pipeline are in Azure Pipeline, then you have got a convenient option to run your jobs using Microsoft-hosted agent. With Microsoft-hosted agents, maintenance and upgrades are taken care for you. Each time you run a pipeline, you get a fresh virtual machine for each job in the pipeline. The virtual machine is discarded after one job, which means any change that a job makes to the virtual machine file system, such as checking out the code, will be unavailable to the next job. Azure Pipeline provides a predefined agent pool named Azure Pipeline with Microsoft-hosted agent. I will show you when I will give you the demo. For many teams, this is simplest way to run your jobs. You can try it first and see it works for your build and deployment. If not, you can use self-hosted agent. So now comes to the next one, which is called self-hosted agent. This is an agent that you set up and manage on your own to run job is a self-hosted agent. You can use self-hosted agents in Azure Pipeline or Azure DevOps Server, formerly known as TFS, Team Foundation Server. Self-hosted agents give you more control to install dependent software needed for your builds and deployments. Also, machine level caches and configuration persist from run to run, which can boost your speed. You can install the agent on Linux, Mac OS or Windows machine. You can also install an agent on Docker container. For more information about installing a self-hosted agent, I have added document link in the description below. The third one is Azure Virtual Machine Skill Set. And Azure Virtual Machine Skill Set agents are formed for self-hosted agent that can be auto-scaled to meet your demands. This elasticity reduces your need to run this dedicated agent all the time. Unlike Microsoft-hosted agent, you have flexibility over the size and the images of machine on which agents runs. You specify a virtual machine skill set, a number of agents to keep and standby, a maximum number of virtual machine in the skill set, and the Azure Pipeline manages the scaling of your agents for you. So last but not least, let's go to the demo. First demo we are going to see is we are going to create a brand new project and create a brand new pipeline. And steps involved is, first of all, we are going to install Git, create Azure DevOps project. Then we are going to clone the repository from the project into our local VS Code. Then we are going to add some code, Terraform code there, for example creating resources like resource group or storage account, push those changes into Azure DevOps, and then create a DevOps pipeline and execute it. In demo 1 we are going to use default Azure pipeline agent, and we are using to deploy it into our cloud. In the demo 2, we are going to create our own pool and then install self-hosted agent over there, and then create a new pipeline and run using self-hosted agent. This demo 2 is mostly especially for those people whose organization does not allow Azure agent directly connect to your Azure cloud. So in that case, we have to use our self-hosted agent and install all the software on that self-hosted agent, and then run that agent behind the firewall so that it can connect to the Azure cloud. So let's get started. So now you can see I have one project ready, but we are not going to start with project. We are going to start with a brand new project, and let's put it name like Terraform, and then I'm choosing it as a private. In the description you can mention anything, like I am mentioning a Terraform project, and then let's hit create. Okay, so we have created this new project called Terraform. Let's go inside this project, and you can see inside this project it's almost empty. There is nothing here. In the boards it's empty. In the repository I can see there is nothing here. So what I can do here, I can either clone the VS Code from here directly, or I can import my repository, or I can initialize my main branch. So I'm going to initialize my main branch using git ignore file, and I will use Terraform as a git ignore file here. Let me initialize it. So it is initialized now, and here you can see in the readme file it's having some information, default information, and in the git ignore file you can see it's ignoring these files here now, .terraform, .tf state, etc. So what I'm going to do, I'm just going to clone this using my VS Code. Open. I'm going to open it into my documents repo here. And now you can see here I have my git ignore and readme file here. I'm going to create two files. One is main.tf, where I'm going to write which resource I'm going to create. Another one is terraform.tf file, where I'm going to mention about the Terraform blocks. So let me quickly just fill in the details here. Main.tf, I'm going to create resource group and the storage account. And in terraform.tf, I'm just mentioning about my Terraform block and the provider block. So nothing is special, just close it. And now let's push my changes. Adding first files, commit, and sync my changes to the Azure DevOps. Okay, so it's done. Let's go to Azure DevOps repository and let me refresh this page. I can see my main.tf is here now and terraform.tf is here. Keep in mind, for doing this commit and pushing changes here, we need to install git, and you can easily install git by just searching on Google git install or git download. You can download it. We can go to Google and search for git, and here you can see we can download git from here. So you can download for Mac OS, Windows, Linux. I'm downloading it for Windows. So git has been downloaded and you just have to install it. I have already installed on my machine, so I don't have to do anything else. Now going back to our VS Code and if I go my terminal just to show you, Git is already downloaded in my machine. Okay, so we have everything here. Now what we are going to do, we are going to create a pipeline. And before going to create a pipeline, let me tell you that in our code terraform.tf, we are using backend as a Azure RM. Since we are using backend Azure RM, we have to have a storage account where we can keep our state file. So for that, I have already created a storage account, and inside this storage account I have created a container called tf state, and this storage account has been created inside admin rg resource group. So this is already ready. I have pre-provisioned it, and let's go to the Terraform block, Terraform Azure DevOps, and in the pipelines, let's create our first pipeline here. So create pipeline, Azure Git, Terraform, and I am going to use starter pipeline because I don't have any YAML pipeline ready. So starter pipeline. Now here we are going to spend most of our time for Terraform. So now let's start with trigger none. I am not running it for each commit, so there is no trigger, automatic trigger allowed here. So we have to run this pipeline manually. I'm using VM image Ubuntu latest. This is the default image provided by Microsoft. So as I told you, this is the demo one. So in the demo one, we are going to use the default image. And steps, we don't require all these things here. I'm going to use my own code here. So let me start from the scratch. What I have done till now, we have trigger which is none, and we have a pool which is Ubuntu latest. Now we are going to define the parameters. So what are the parameters we are going to use here? So first parameter, let me just copy from my repository so that we can save time, and I will explain everything to you. So in the parameter, I have defined my resource group. That first parameter is the RG name, which is a resource group name. I have made the default value as admin RG. That's correct. We have this resource group. Then I am having one parameter called STG account, and I'm using the default value, the account name. What I'm going to do here, I'm just copying this storage account name and pasting it here, so that it will take this default value of our storage account. Container tf state is fine. We have a container parameter and the default value is tf state, and the key is the file name which is going to be created once we will run our Terraform init and plan and then apply. So the file which is Terraform state file name will be terraform.dev.tf state. You can put whatever you want, but I'm just making it is more relevant to his feature. So this is what I have created, the parameters. Moving ahead, I am going to create here two stages. One stage is going to run my plan, a Terraform plan, and the second stage is run my Terraform apply. So for first stage, let me write down a stage here, stages, and this is the first stage. It should be plan, and the display name is plan. Then what job I am going to run here? So job, here I'm going to run some steps, mentioning some step. Then this is the here what I'm going to do now. When I have run my stage, this is the stage 1 which is plan, and then under the stage we are going to run some jobs, and in these jobs I am going to mention the steps. So the first step, and which is the step name is some, we can step name like display name is Terraform init. Now this is the Terraform step, Terraform init step, and now the first one is the task which I am going to add here, and this is the Terraform init task. So we are going to go show assistance, and here we are going to search Terraform. We can see Terraform here because I have already installed my extension for Terraform. If you don't see this Terraform extension here, what you can do, you just go to this website. I will mention the URL in the description, and here you can find out all the extensions present for Azure DevOps. We are just going to search here for Terraform, and in under this you can find all the Terraform related extensions. So I am using here the first one, which is Microsoft provided, which is properly authenticated plugin. And if I click on get it free, we have to mention our organization here, and then we have to download, and it will automatically present when you select from your pipeline task. But for me, you can see here this extension is already installed on this organization PRSHU007, so I don't have to do it again. But if you don't see it here, then you have to do it. So I am going to use Terraform. It will run my Terraform init command, and I don't want any special parameters. And then here in the subscription, I am using my subscription here, and now I have to authorize. This authorization means it is going to create a service principal in the backend. I will show you that service principal in the project setting. You can do it one more thing here, that without creating this authorization, you can create your service principal under the project setting directly and use that service principal over here. Then you don't have to do the authorization part, which will create one more service principal. So it has authorized my pipeline, and now go under the resource group. You can see now I can see my admin RG resource group here, and the storage account. I can see my STAG account in the container. TF state, and the key which I am choosing key which is mentioned in the parameters, which is here. And then I am clicking add over here. Remember, you should not add your task anywhere. You should add your task where it should require. So under the steps in the display name, I just mentioning this to space here, and then I will add the task here. So you can see it still is failing. It's giving me error. So I have to do some setup here. Now you can see it is okay. Let me remove this first. Okay, so now it is taking my task exactly. We can ignore this warning because it is saying it is missing some properties related to AWS, related to GCP cloud, something else, but we don't have to use that. We are going to use Azure RM, so we just provide the required values. But here you are saying I am hard coding my values. I don't want to hard code my values here. I am using parameters, so I'm just going to use those parameters here. So for admin RG, we are going to use our parameter. And how to define the parameter in the pipeline? Dollar, double curly braces, then parameters dot, what name I have chosen, it's RG name, and space. So this is how we are going to use our parameters here. Same for others as well. So I'm just copying it, just pasting it here, and in the last one, which is the key here. And now updating the name. For storage account, I'm going to use the storage account. For container, I'm going to use container, and last one is the key. Okay, so init is fine. Now we are going to create another task, and another task will be validate. So let's go again for Terraform and Azure RM, fine, and here we are going to use validate, and I don't have to do any connection string or any service principal to choose. I just have add here, and you can see it is added. Now the next task, which is Terraform plan. Terraform plan. And here I have to use you see earlier this service connection was not here, but because of this first task, when we are doing init and filling out all the things, we have to validate our pipeline, our pipeline to connect to the Azure cloud. It has created this service principal, so I'm just using the same service principal here, and it has added this task. Let's give this task some display name so we can see what it is. So this is Terraform init, then this is Terraform validate, and display name is a pure string, so you can write your name whatever you want, and this is Terraform plan. So we have created this first stage, which is Terraform plan, which is a plan, and in this we are going to run init, and then we are going to run validate and the plan. Now we are going to write another stage. Let me close this stage, so let's shrink it, and we are going to write another stage hyphen stage, and this will be apply stage. So under the apply, let's fill out the details quickly. So under the apply, I have added my details like display name apply, and then job. Under the job, I have put my information about the initialization. Now you are going to ask why this init is running again. It was already running inside the plan. Why I'm running it again? Init is required to be run again because we are using two different stages. First one is the plan, another one is the apply. So whatever running in the plan stage will not be available for the apply stage, and since nothing is available for the apply stage, that means the initialization of the code will also be not available for apply stage, and that's why we need to initialize our project once again over here, so that our second stage, which is apply, get to know what is the Azure backend, which is the target backend where they can save or can use the tf state file. That's why we are initializing it. Here you can see we have a parameter rg name, storage account, containers, and key for the required backend information, and this is the backend service principal I'm using. And then the second one is Terraform apply, and here also you can see this is also using one service principal here. Now I'm just giving the name of these tasks so that we can see properly in our pipeline when we run it. So it is Terraform init again, Terraform init again, and then this one is the Terraform apply. Okay, so all things are set. Let me save it properly and run this pipeline. So here you can see we have branch main, and now these are the parameters. Default value is already here, and if you want to change this value, you can change it from this blade, but I don't want to change anything here. I just hit click run, and now it's running. So you can see here that we have two stages. The first one is plan, where we are going to initialize our code, then validate our code, and then later on deploy plan it. And in the second one, we are going to initialize and apply. That means we are going to deploy our resources. Let's see here what is going on. It is saying this pipeline needs permission to access a resource before this run can continue to plan. Okay, so whenever you are going to create a new pipeline, it will always ask you this authorization permission. So we have to go here and we will say, okay, I will permit it to use my service principal. That's totally fine. So it is going to use our service principal, and now it's starting. As you can see, our first stage is completed. We have successfully run Terraform init, Terraform validate and Terraform plan. And now we are going to run our second stage, which is Terraform apply. Okay, so our second stage, which is Terraform apply, also successful. Let's go through what's going on in this task. So first one is the Terraform init. It is initializing our backend, and you can see it is downloading all the required packages for our Terraform project. Then it is validating and saying it's successful. Then we are planning it. In the plan, you can see it is trying to create one resource group and it is trying to create one storage account. Two resource to be add and nothing to change, nothing to destroy. Then coming to the apply. In the init, it is same like earlier. It is just initializing my project, and in Terraform apply, you can see it is trying to create two resources. First one is the resource group, second one is the storage account, and in the last, you can see in the history it is trying to create here, creating, and the apply completed. Two resource has been added. Let's verify by going to Azure portal. Here we have demo RG resource group. Inside that we have a storage account called stagac demo 12324s. So here you can see the same storage account I am trying to create. So this demo one is completed, where I have run my pipeline, and the pipeline is able to run two stages. The first stage is to plan and the second stage is to apply. So in the plan, we have plan validate our code. In the apply, we have created our resource group. In the meantime, we have created some service principal. While creating our pipeline, we can create service principal from project setting as well. So if you go to project setting, and if you go down in the pipeline, service connections. So in service connection, this service connection by default created by the pipeline when we are validating it, and you can create your own new service connection for Azure. We can write Azure here, and then you can find out Azure Classic. For you have to create Azure Resource Manager ARM. This service principal you need to create if you want to create it by yourself. Okay, so demo 1 is completed. Now we are going for the demo 2. So demo 2, in the demo 2, it was mentioned that we are going to create a self-hosted agent and run our pipeline on the self-hosted agent. This demo 2 is beneficial for the people who want to run their pipeline under their own agents, under their own machines, under their own organization's machine, which is having access on the cloud, and they want to maintain some state. For example, they want to run some stage 1, and in the stage 1, the output of those stage 1 should be present for stage 2, because in Azure default agents, the resources which we create in stage 1 got deleted automatically when it is coming to stage 2. So from stage 1, nothing going for the stage 2. But if you are using your own self-hosted agent, we can save those files for the stage 2, and then we can use it for stage 2 and so on. And the self-hosted agent is important for those also who cannot access cloud directly from the Azure default Microsoft-hosted agent. They have some policy, some firewall. For some security reasons, they are not allowing the default agents from Microsoft to use their cloud. That's why we have this self-hosted agent concept. So for using self-hosted agent, we have to go here in the project setting, go to agent pools, and here you can see we have two default agent pools. One is the Azure Pipelines, another one is the default. So what is inside Azure Pipeline? Azure Pipelines, you can see we have this Microsoft-hosted agent, where we don't have to worry about management of this, patching of this, nothing. We don't have to worry about anything. We just use it. But it can be used by multiple other people also, because it's a shared agents. So and now we are going to another pool, which is the default one, and in the default there is nothing here, and this default is the self-hosted agent. So we have to add agent here, and then we can run our pipeline on this pool, but we are not going to use this default name. I don't like this default name. So what we are going to do here, we are going to create a new pool, and the name of the new pool will be, let's choose it self-hosted. We can choose Azure virtual machine skill set as well, but I don't want to use that one because it's very costly. I have to provision some virtual machines and then I pay for it. I'm using self-hosted, and the name of the pool is demo pool. And description, you can write something description here. And yes, this is important. I need to grant access permission to all pipelines so that all pipelines in my project can use this agent pool. And let's hit create. So now if I go inside this, I have nothing here in the agents, nothing. So what I need to do, I need to create a new agent. Let me try to hit new agent, and now here you can see we need to download these files for Windows, for Mac OS, for Linux, but I'm using Windows, so I am going to download this file. File has been downloaded, and then I have to follow these commands. So let me go to my download folder here. So here you can see this file has been downloaded. Let me extract this file here itself. Okay, so extraction is completed. Let me open my PowerShell and then run those commands now, which is mentioned on the Azure DevOps page. So first of all, I have to go to this folder first. So cd folder, I am inside this folder now. Let's go to this page, and it's saying that I have to create one agent directory. So let me copy this and go here. I will make agent directory here directly inside this folder. I'm not going to create inside C drive because later on I'm going to delete it. So I'm creating inside this folder itself. And then it is saying that I have to run my .config file from here. So let's go again. .config file is here. I will just run it. So it is asking for the URL of my server. So let me open my Azure DevOps. So this is my server URL. Now it is asking that authentication, I should use PAT or not PAT. So for PAT, I need to create a personal access token from Azure DevOps. So I'm going here inside my Azure DevOps. Over here you can see user setting. Inside user setting you have this personal access tokens. So I will click personal access token. I will click new token here. Give this PAT is PAT 1 2, and full access you can give any date. So I'm just giving till tomorrow, which is 28th, and create it. Remember this this password, this access token, it once you close it you will lose it, so you have to make note of it somewhere. So let me just make note of it so that I will not lose it somewhere. So it is saying enter authentication type, press enter for PAT. I just enter, and now it is saying what is your personal access token. I just copy it from my notepad and paste it here. It's trying to connect to the server. Now it is saying enter agent pool, press enter for default. No, I'm not using my default one. I'm using my on pool. So let me go to the pool. My name is my pool name is demo pool. So it should be demo-pool. Enter agent name. So it's taking my computer name. I'm making it as pipeline agent 12. Now it is scanning for tool capabilities. Enter the work directory. I'm taking it as a default, that's fine. Enter run agent as a service. I want to run agent as a service. You can do one thing here, that if you want, you cannot if you don't want to run it as a service, you can mention no, and then until unless you are not closing this window, the agent will run. Whenever you close this window, this PowerShell window, automatically your agent will stop running. But I want to run it as a service, so I'm mentioning it as a yes. Enter enable service set type unrestricted for agent services. I said yes because I don't want any restriction on it. User account to use for service. Press enter for anti-network service. I'm just mentioning like this, but it will not start my service, let me tell you, because network service does not have permission to run as a service on my machine. So I have to go there and provide permission or change as a local account. So what next is enter whether to prevent service starting immediately after configuration is finished. No. So service has been successfully started. So what is the service name? VSTS agent PRSHUU007 demo pool pipeline agent 12. Let's check the service in my machine. Let's go here. These are the services. And let me search the pipeline service, Azure DevOps Pipeline agent, and if you see in the bracket, it is pre-rshuu.demo pool pipeline agent 12, and it is not running. I told you, since this network service is not having run as a service access. So what I'm going to do, I just go to properties, log on. I am just using my local system account and then try to run it. And it's running fine now. Let me close it. Let's see in the demo pool, do we have active agents here? And it is right now offline. Why it's offline? Oh, it's online now. So since the service started just now, and now it is online. What we are going to do now is that we are going to okay, let me remove this and going to Azure DevOps once again. In the pipeline, we have first pipeline, which is a Terraform. Let me create new pipeline, which is going to use the self-hosted agent. For let me just create first one. And what I'm going to do here, I'm just copy pasting everything from the previous one. So let me just open my folder. I'm removing everything from here and pasting what we have created earlier when we are running our pipeline using default. But now we are going to change this pool setting. So what we are going to do for changing this pool setting? So we are going to remove this VM image. I don't want to mention any VM image here. And in the pool, I am going to mention about our pool name, which is demo pool, and that's all which is required to be done. So we are going to use our demo pool. Inside demo pool, we have our self-hosted agent. Remaining all settings are same, all the parameters same. Then we have this task same earlier, and we have remaining things also. And now we need to save it and run. So here I can see this is the storage account. I think this is correct storage account. Yes, so this is 23922. So this is different storage account. So I have to use the correct storage account name, which is this one. So let me update this value. So now storage account value has been updated, pool has been updated, and let me save it now and run. So now it is a correct storage account where our TFS state file is present. So run it. Since this is a brand new pipeline, it's required authorization to use the service principal. I am authorizing it now. Okay, so it is failed and it was expected that it should fail. Why? Because it is a self-hosted agent, and in the self-hosted agent we have to take care of all the softwares. And here you can see fail to find the Terraform tool in the path, because we haven't installed Terraform properly on our machine, and it is our responsibility to install it. So what we have to do before running any Terraform command, we have to install the Terraform. So here, before going to run this init command, we have to install the Terraform. And for that we need to search Terraform task from here, and this is the second task, Terraform tool installer, and I'm going to install the latest. So this task needs to be added because we are the one who is owning this self-hosted agent, and this is our responsibility to install all the required software. When we use Microsoft-hosted agent, most of the software is already installed on those machines, and that's why we don't have to install any special software over there. But for self-hosted agent, we are the owner and we have to do it. This is very good that it's come like this, and we learn from our mistakes. So now in the second stage also, we know that this Terraform installation will not present for the second stage. We have to install it there as well. So now I have installed my Terraform on both the stages. Let me save it and run. Okay, so our pipeline runs successfully. Let's go here. So we have installed our Terraform under this Terraform installer. Then we are running our initialization command, then validating it, and then running our Terraform plan. And here you can see no changes required because we are using the same code for this pipeline as well. And these the resources are already created by the first pipeline, so that's why there is no changes are required. And if I go to Terraform apply, and here also you can see there is no new resource created. Now if we want to create a new resource, what should we do now? So let's go to our code here, main.tf. Let's just want to add one more storage account, so let me make it as a storage account 1, and let's add 1 here, and that's all. Save it and commit, adding one more storage account, commit, and let me push my changes to the Git repository. It's not Git, it's Azure DevOps. And here if I go to repository, you can see in the main I have added one more resource here, and I just have to run my pipeline. Let's run the second pipeline, which is running using our self-hosted agent. Run. So as you can see, it is creating one resource, which is a storage account, and it's about to be completed. So Terraform pipeline has completed. Let's see, it has created this brand new storage account and everything is fine. Let's go to Azure repository, Azure portal, go to demo, refresh it, and here you can see we have our one more storage account here. Now we want to do something like, if we push our changes here, then automatically our pipeline should run. in that case, in the pipeline, if I go here and add it, and here it is none, I am making it as main. So if any change happen to the main, either we can do this, so we just save it, and now if I want to add one more storage account and push my changes, so make it as 2, make it name as 2, save. Let me commit it quickly and push my changes. So changes pushed. If I go here in the repository in the main, I can see my one more, the second storage account has been added. If I go to pipeline, the pipeline automatically triggered. Why it is triggered? Because I have added this trigger here, that if anything changes in my main branch, it should start running. So this trigger will help you in automatically running your code by running your pipeline. So it will trigger the pipeline. That's why it is called continuous integration, continuous deployment, because it can, whenever you are pushing your code to the repository, pipeline automatically understand that you have pushed your code over here and there are some changes happen, and that's why it is running on that trigger. And now if I go to the pipeline once again here and see where it is running, plan is already completed. And if I go to the jobs, okay, it's completed now. And let's check out our Azure portal and let me refresh it, and you can see one more storage account is created. So this is all about today's session. In this we have learned that how to create Azure DevOps project, how to push our changes there, then create new pipeline creating service principal there, and using our Microsoft-hosted agents to deploy our project. Project means Terraform code and create resources. And in the demo too, we have learned that how to install self-hosted agent, and after installation self-hosted agent, we have created a brand new pipeline, and using self-hosted agent we have deployed our resources. So if you like this video, please hit like button, subscribe to my channel, and if you like my hard work, please comment on this one. And if you feel like you want to see some more videos on some special technology related to Azure DevOps or Terraform, please let me know in the comment section. I will try to create that video as soon as possible. Thank you so much for watching. Have a nice day. Bye bye.